Okay, so today we're going to talk about water. I get people that come in and they see me all the time and they say to me, I'm ripped. And I'm like, brilliant, let's have a look at you. And they strip off and there's not an ab in sight. So I say, well, what's going on there? And they go, oh, I'm holding a bit of water. I'm like, water? You're holding more water than the River Nile. It's crazy. So I don't understand it. So you're not going to hold that much water. It's fat. It's surprising, when you get ready for a show, actually, that the water that you hold is minimal. It's just like a film, but it can make a big difference when going on stage. A lot of people worry about the water in the off season, and to be honest with you, I don't worry about water in the off season. I just sort of make sure I try and drink enough. And I've got to be honest with you, I probably don't. I tried to, and I think the BCAAs were very, very handy because when you drink them, it tastes good, and in actual fact, it encourages you to drink more fluids. So it's very, very good. And it's surprising how the smallest amount of dehydration causes so much lack in performance. So it's very, very important that you stay hydrated. So that is very, very important. But going back to the shows with the water, you don't hold that much water. People are grabbing it and saying, oh, I'm holding water today. You're not holding water, you're fat. And this is the problem. So it's surprising, you can diet down and get pretty much ripped doing whatever. I think many years ago, things have changed a bit because we used to, people that were on the gear, they used to switch gears about 6 weeks out because they said, it doesn't aromatise, so we're not going to hold so much water, etc. But, now, when I just think that makes you soft, I think there's ways now of getting rid of water at the end. I think basically get ready early. I think that's a big thing, which we've talked about before. And I think that at the end, you can deal with that little bit of water, but it is only a little bit of water, I think people are thinking that what they've got left on them is mainly water when it's not, it's fat. So firstly, you've got to bring the fat levels down to an absolute minimal. And then you'll see, you'll have a film. Later on in the day, you might be holding a bit more. When you wake up, you're a little bit drier. And obviously, that's an easy fix, really, towards the end, prior to the show. Now, a lot of people choose to water load. Now, this water loading business, I've tried it, and yes, it can definitely work, and I've seen it work great on other people. But I have my own way. So I tried water loading on a few occasions, and obviously the idea of water loading is when you increase the water, a week out, you're drinking loads, you pretty much ramp it right up to say like 8 litres. I've known people have up to 12 litres, which is crazy. Drinking loads and loads of water, and obviously getting the process going where you're constantly going to the toilet. And then obviously the body wants to get rid of it. It's too much water. So then when you stop the water, obviously the body doesn't realise you keep going to the toilet, and it overcompensates, and then you get sort of dehydrated, puts you in a dehydrated state prior to the show. So that's that. It works. But for me personally, I like to get ready early, so I'm pretty dry a week out anyway. And just by increasing my carbs and pulling back on the water a touch is normally enough for me. I found that was the better way for me to do it. When I water loaded, I felt like, I know some people that have water loaded just not been able to get rid of the water in time, and yet I've known people that have woke up in the morning of the show and have been bone dry, So you've got to try these things definitely and see which one works for you. But water is a massive thing. People say they don't want to hold water. Well, you do want to hold water. You just don't want it under the skin. You want it obviously in the muscle. And obviously carbing up, it will pull that water into the muscle. So that's the idea of carbing up. And when I reduce back the water a little bit, you should have this dry, full look. But water is a massive thing. But I think that a lot of people rely on that last week. And they think that if they do all these techniques, it's suddenly going to miraculously make them look ripped. And when it doesn't work, they don't understand why it didn't work. And the reason is it did work. It's just that they were fat. So you can't diuretic off fat no matter what you do. If you're fat, you're fat. So you can get rid of all the water you want, but you're still not going to be ripped and shredded unless the fat's off. And people say to me, what have I got to do in the last week when it comes to the water? I said, look, forget that. You haven't got the fat off yet. We can only worry about the water when the fat's off. So the fat comes first, and when the fat is right down where it needs to be, then we can concentrate on drying out at the end, and then you'll get that nice shredded, full look. So water is a it's a big thing, but certainly people think and mistake fat and water. You know, I mean, to be honest with you, some of the best results I've seen from some bodybuilders, they haven't done anything with the water. They've just got ready early, and as they've sort of increased their carbs net up to the show, it's slowly dried them out. And as they've got closer to the show, they're dry anyway, so they haven't had to do anything. And obviously that's good, because you're leaving, you know, there's no risk there at all. You know pretty much how you're going to be going into the show. All this last minute, you know, can work definitely, but it can also go very wrong, like we've talked about before. So I prefer to get ready nice and early, bring it down, and then obviously increase my carbs. If anything, eat up to the show, and then every single day I just get that little bit dry, a little bit harder, a little bit dry, a little bit harder. Every morning I wake up that little bit drier, so then I pretty much know how I'm going to wake up on the day of the show anyway. Stopping drinking completely when people are doing a show, I've seen go wrong as well. That can go against you. Definitely, it can make you actually look softer. So, you know, obviously, you know, some people do need to keep on drinking. Some people are better off stopping. Some people are better off continually drinking. So you've got to know which works best for you. But you know, the body is mainly water, you know, a good 70% water. So, you know, it's everything. You know, the muscle is mainly water. So it's a very, very important subject that people probably overlook a little bit, you know. But certainly in the off season, if I can give any advice, it is drink more. I'm trying to drink about 4 to 5 litres a day. When you hear of these pros and that talking about, you know, drinking a lot more, you've got to remember as well, they're in a much hotter climate. They could be in LA where it's boiling hot every day, you know. So it depends obviously where you are, you know, depends on, you know, if you're in a hotter climate, obviously you probably would need to drink more. But obviously in the UK here, it's never that hot. So, you know, I personally think 4 to 5 litres a day for me is enough. And that pretty much keeps me hydrated, keeps me in a good place where I feel strong and full. So that's pretty much my take on water. Don't mistake water and fat. And, you know, you've got to pull that fat right down before you even worry about water at all. And then, you know, you just get rid of that little bit of water at the end. Personally, for me, like I said, get ready early, dry it as the days go on leading to the show. If you are going to water load, then great, because I've seen it work fantastically on some people, but it does depend on the individual. Some people reduce the water coming up to the show, so they might be on 4 litres, 3, 2, 1. Some people cut it dead. So there's many different ways of doing it, but that's pretty much my take on the water. So yes, remember to subscribe to this channel for more future videos. And also, if you're interested in any of the SNC supplements, then go on UK, snc.co.uk, and we'll speak to you soon.